This is your Captain B speaking from Air Boring. We're now pre-boarding. Rows A and B can come on board with me, and C, of course, can stay seated and keep snoring. Circuits are apparently shorting. The only recourse is resorting to reassuring, rewarding, restoring. Oh, that's good. That's what you want to hear when you're trying to record something, right? Lovely. Cohorts coordinating reportings. Contorting, distorting, ignoring, informing recordings. Recording. Like a reverse Planned Parenthood aborting. Beware of a swarming. Importing instead of steadily deporting enemy forces that are frenetically forming. Storming. Pouring. Smoke fills the air in the morning. Corpses laid bare, strewn across the grass, masses in mourning. Swearing, unbearably sorting through.
Don't dare purport you are unaware of the overbearing outpouring of fair warnings. Ground shaking, gray clouds, precipitation. Grown men breaking down, fists clenched, pounding pavement. Their countenances of frowns filled with amazement. Their safe havens now in archaic devastation. Cause once upon a time the naysayers were hated, ultimately dismissed though they vigorously debated. Media stations blamed it on them night and day, and the pundits claiming that they were just a bunch of racists. Used many tools, intimidation was their favorite. Ranking on them was commonplace for their entertainment. We saw it coming, but we prayed it wasn't contagious. Though the accusations were absolutely outrageous. Reiterations, repetitious in their natures. With dedication, this progressivism escalated. Imitations into ostentatious motivations. Then transformations, they incubated into sadists. Sooner than later, the layman's became jaded. Pagans were brazen and said that faith was overrated. Amidst broad dissemination, few remain courageous. Too afraid of confrontations, hid under their blankets. Legislations produce federal regulations. Monumental court cases and deliberations. Perceived insultations, now grounds for litigations. As was protesting government organizations. Christians subject to warrantless raids and home invasions. Congregations were no longer to sing their praises. First century situations had them back to basics. Reduced to worshiping in their basements and secret places. Branded traitors preaching labeled discrimination. Incriminations confined the patriots to cages. Prison status gained a maintenance relations with rapists. Guards watch them get passed around like hot potatoes. Anxious of persecutions, conservatism languished against the vicious opposition that so few can hang with. The bravest of the bravest even went on hiatus. Interrogations, even the T bowed like glacing. The right vanquished, they felt they had no limitations. Seized the occasion, commenced parades and celebrations. Lavish banquets, hip hip hooray, yay we made it. Proclaimed it the great leap forward in civil liberations. This of course carried interesting implications. So audacious, the ends were their justifications. They saw no correlations to historic indications. From flagrantly shamelessly reinstating segregations. The long awaited utopian nation was created. No desirous sensation suffered deprivation. None forbade fornication at pre-teenage ages. Cause educators thought these were healthy behaviors. behaviors. Valuation procreations, little more than aphids. Abortions performed daily, late pregnancy stages. Considerations always made on emotional basis. To say the moral fabric faded is an understatement. Legalization of immigration infestation. No problem if you don't got no proper documentations. Not too long before minorities became Caucasians. Populations quadrupled in 3 generations. Obliteration of reason delayed their realizations. Environmental observations, top obligations. Talks about peace, decrease militarization. It didn't take a Ben Franklin to see where they were traipsing, complacent. No one awakened to smell the hydrangeas. Misappropriated and fallacious fascinations. No inkling inclinations of drastic ramifications. Cause conservationists were too busy saving the glaciers. Economic estimations, scientific calculations, accommodations, they thought they touched on all their bases. Must have forgot to carry the Y's in the equations, cause unemployment figures far exceeded expectations. As always, they blamed it all on corporations, exorbitant wages, facepalm, goodness gracious, excessive taxation on their accumulations. This suffocation, limited business innovations, major deductions, interruptions to compensations, tighten their reins as marketization deflated, industrialization so underappreciated. The modernization movement shriveled up like raisins. Some downplayed it, yet still others embraced it. Increased debt spiral to out of control inflation and synchronization. Then the stock market caved in. Bulls traded places with bears into hibernation. The Great Depression started to look like a vacation. Homemakers traded in aprons for slave labors. Some enraged to find their habitations were taken. Defaulted mortgages, homes were boarded up and vacant. The lame and aged, no social security payments. Elimination of Medicaid, they never could sustain it. Healthcare was free, so doctors had too many patients. Emaciated infants couldn't get inoculations. Golden bracelets became the new monetization. And owners of property sold it off for close to nothing. Consolidations, families cramped in little spaces. For sustentation, traded in the rings of their engagements. Catering to Islam, they welcomed in Al-Qaeda's. In syncopation, order what they call remediations. Invitations, all in the name of equalizations. And even made the arrangements to pay them reparations. Two-edged sword that never saw the blade was serrated. Insinuations, threats of biological agents, new reservations, though too late for them to change it. Landscape demolitions made Chernobyl look like Vegas. Major roadways became blockaded by craters. Patrons traveling to occupations was too dangerous. Based on recommendations, martial law was instated. Reassured them it was for the safety of our freedoms. In perfect cadence, rumors were buzzing like cicadas. Taking notations, stayed updating their Facebook pages. Capers then initiated from the administration. Cut the net so much for the age of communication. Citizens were hanging. They felt betrayed by their dictators. Infuriations, hearts colder than cryostasis. No prescription medications to numb their frustrations. In desperation, people consulted constellations. No consolations, no one had any explanations. No friendly faces, no one pleased to make your acquaintance. Instigations, neighbors raised up against neighbors. No patience, resorted to insane improvisations. Trials and tribulations, undesignated durations. No replications, since the ancient civilizations. They screamed and complained, but no one heard their lamentations. Made them think it was straight out the book of Revelation.